Okay, at the time you wrote this, was this a true statement?
It was a true statement.
Okay. Mr. Congoni provided you an advance payment per the request you made within
Yes.
Exhibit 72. Is that okay? What separate account were these funds deposited in?
They weren't deposited in a separate account.
Okay, why did you tell Mr. Conconi they would be deposited in a separate account?
They were spent so quickly for these parts that a separate account wasn't needed.
Okay, but you said that you would deposit in a separate account. Is that correct?
The message was that that the funds would be used as described below, which they were.
Moved or strike is non-responsive. The statement that you would provide or put these funds in a separate account was true and correct at the time you made it, correct?
The funds were not put in a separate account.
Why not?
It wasn't necessary. They were received and spent practically the same day.
Why did you tell Mr. Conconi you'd put the funds in a separate account if you never intended to do so?
There possibly was conversation or some other email from him that relieved me of that responsibility. I don't know why we didn't do it.
Okay, if there's no email.
There might have been a phone conversation.
Okay, when was this phone call?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's possible that he never relieved you of these obligations.
The key point is that the money was used to buy the parts that were shown here.
But it's your testimony that you never put it in a separate account, correct?
To my knowledge, it didn't go into a separate account.
Okay, what records or documents could show how these funds were used?
Each one of these items here has an invoice and a payment date, and it can be shown when it was paid.
Other than the CFO that you had mentioned earlier, Susan Tatter, is that her name?
Yes,
Is there any other employee that could testify about what PA did with this advance payment?
She would be best.
Okay. Did you use the advance payments only for the purposes of purchasing or paying for the items listed within the email contained in Exhibit 72?
Well, the payment looks like it's a little bit more than those amounts, so I don't know what happened to the rest of it, but so he paid $380,000, and this tallies up to $305,000. I suspect there was more for that boat that we used the money for.
Was this advance payment used exclusively for the manufacture of the N-120?
Yes.
Was any of this money used to construct the PAE's new headquarters in Dana Point, California?
No.
How do you know that?
Because I know the parts are listed right here.
Okay.
And I see the payment, and I see the parts, and that was why we asked for it.
Was any of the money that was provided to you with respect to your request in Exhibit, what show is it, 68, if I recall, used to construct PAE's new facility in Dana Point, California? $1 million advance payment that Mr. Conconi provided.
No, as a matter of fact, based on what was due to the factory, his payment, his loan would have been a shortfall for what we had to pay. So, no, it would have actually sucked money out of the general account.
Okay. I'm going to put a document in front of you that's been previously marked as Exhibit 73. It's a copy of an email from Trevor Smith, dated August 27th, 2012, which is Bates number PAE 2348 to 2349, and ask you to review it. My first question is, do you recognize Exhibit 73?
Yes.
What is Exhibit 73?
It's an email in August of 2012 describing a plan to move the boat on its own bottom and a schedule of remaining tasks to be done.
Okay. Does Exhibit 73 appear to be a true and correct document that you just identified?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I'm going to mark and identify, I'm going to put a document in front of you that's been previously marked as Exhibit 74. It's a copy of an email from Robert Conconi on August 27, 2012, which is Bates numbered PAE 000206-207, and ask you to review it. My first question will be, do you recognize Exhibit 74?
Yes.
What is Exhibit 74?
It's Bob's reaction to the email that you just put in front of me.
Okay, is Exhibit 74 a true and correct copy of the document that you just identified?
Yes.
Within Exhibit 74 is a reply to the email that you just described, reflecting Exhibit 73, where Mr. Conconi states that he has delivered much of the payments to you already in good faith and upon preferable terms to your entire company, correct? It'd be on the...
Yeah,
okay.
that's his opinion. It wasn't particularly preferable terms.
Okay, do you...
Any payments that he made to us, he charged a 2% loan fee and 8.3% interest. So he was actually practically in the business of loaning money and making profit. So I wouldn't call it preferable terms.
Okay, well, what would you call it?
I would call it a nice interest return on his payments to us.
Okay, he owed you specific payments on specific dates, right?
Yes.
And you would ask him for payments outside of that schedule, correct?
Yes.
And he provided you those, correct?
Yes.
And those weren't required of him, right?
I was objecting to his use of the word preferable terms.
Okay. So you would disagree with Mr. Conconi's description of what preferable terms mean, I guess.
I would say a 2% loan fee and 8.3% interest were not preferable terms.
Is that something you agreed to?
Yes.
Okay. Did it help construct the N120?
Yes.
Okay.
I objected to the expression preferable terms.
I'm going to mark, I'm going to put a document in front of you that's been previously marked as Exhibit 75. It's a copy of an email from you on August 27, 2012, which is Bates numbered PAE 001063, and ask you to review it. My first question is, do you recognize Exhibit 75?
Yes.
What is Exhibit 75?
It's my answer to Exhibit 74.
Okay, does Exhibit 75 appear to be a true and correct copy of the document you just identified?
Yes.
Right, within this email, you state, I believe it's on paragraph 1, we know that this boat is a major milestone in your life, and we know that any loss of 2013 cruising season is unacceptable and non-negotiable, a non-starter for which any excuse or explanation is intolerable, correct?
Yes.
Was that a true statement when you made it?
Yes.
Was Mr. Conconi able to use the N120 during the 2013 cruising season?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
We ended up making a plan in which we included him as a guest aboard the boat when it crossed the Pacific from China to Vancouver.
So it's your definition, it's your understanding that because Mr. Conconi was able to attend the cruise from China to Vancouver, the delivery cruise, that constitutes use of the vessel during the cruising season. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a grand adventure. There was a full crew on board. There was a cook and a sous chef, and he was pampered and taken care of. So yeah, it was quite a nice use of the boat.
And this was prior to you delivering the vessel to Vancouver, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And prior to delivering it to even Mr. Conconi, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'd like you to go to the bottom paragraph right above where you say, with my sincere apologies, and review the sentence starting with, also Trevor asked me to tell you that he has a vision, actually what's called a commitment. Do you see that paragraph?
Yes.
Okay. For your first cruise and use of the boat after delivery in Canada, Trevor will be aboard along with 2 other great people, David Jin and a very smart Taiwanese guy who has done so much design, engineering, and inspection. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. With these, later on, the sentence that follows, you say, with those 3 smart guys aboard, all remaining punch list items can be resolved and you can receive great instruction and training. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did that occur?
No.